How's it going, YouTubers? Cornwolf here. Thank you for joining for another video today, and today we've got one of the first building tunes that I'm going to do, which is for the wheel. Anybody that is watching this, before you stop this because you think it might just be a tune that doesn't apply to you, fear not, that I have tested them, and bizarrely the tunes that you do for a wheel also work very well with a pad. And if you do a tune with a pad and you try and use it on a wheel, it might not work 100%. Don't ask me why, it's just how it is, but it does work. So anybody can use these tunes, but they have been specifically tuned up in such a way that these will work with a wheel. So this is the 1974 Toyota Celica, and this paint has actually been done by Cruise 2382. It's a really nice looking race livery that they've got on this one. So please do check out his livery and any other liveries that he has got out there. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to him. So I've just picked this car randomly as my first car with the wheel. I just wanted something that was fairly easy, not a leaderboard car, and just a car that I've not tuned up. So I've tuned it up. It is in D-Class, and we'll just back out of this here, and we'll just take you into the tuning setups here. So it is in D-Class, and there's quite a bit of power in it. I've beaten a few times, but it's by no means a leaderboard car as such, not at least in my hands. But it's good fun to drive. I have beaten a few times around Silverstone with this, but the main thing is about this tune is that it's there to get you to grips with tuning and driving with the wheel. So if you have literally just got the wheel, try out this tune. Any tunes that I do for the wheel, if you search for the car, or if you find the car and then in the search either type in my name, that's Cornwolf with a space, or type in wheel as the description, then you will bring up my wheel tune. If anyone else has done them, they may have done them, but at least you'll know that that's the tune to use if I have got other tunes out there. So anyway, without further ado, as always, we're going to start at the conversion and then the engine swap. We've got no engine swap in there. There's plenty of options, but again, I'm just keeping it fairly simple and just on the D-Class there. Stock drivetrain and the aspiration conversion. We've actually got the race springs and dampeners. This is quite a very low D-Class car anyway, so we could add quite a bit. I'm just going to go over to the engine. Air filter, we've got the race intake, the carburetor, we've left that stock. Ignition, stock again. Exhaust, and we've got the race exhaust. Camshafts, and we've got the street cams there. Valves, we've left that stock. Displacement, we've got the race engine block. Pistons and compression, we've got as stock. The twin supercharger is race. Intercooler stock as always, but just quickly show you these. They're both stock, just to show you I'm not lying. The flywheel is stock. I'm just going to back out of here. And platform and handling, brakes. We've got race brakes, race springs and dampeners. Fairly certain everything's race, but we'll check anyway. Race front anti-roll bars and race rear anti-roll bars. Roll cage, we've just got stock in there. If you put it up, it's going to add the extra weight, and it does actually bumps up a couple of classes, so we've left that stock. And the weight reduction is the race weight reduction. And onwards to the drivetrain, and the clutch is stock as always, because I use manual with clutch in a roundabout way. Transmission, we've gone with the sport transmission. Driveline, and that's sport. Differential, and that is the race diff. And the tyres, the tyre compound we've got here is street. Front tyre width is the first one up, which is the 205s. And the rear, excuse me, the rear tyre width is 245, so a bit of extra grip in them rear tyres. The rim style, I'm fairly certain, I've just changed them, but we've got the trusty TE37s and the VNLKs, whatever they are. They are the lightest wheels pretty much in the game. There's a few that match it, but I think they look pretty cool on that. And because I've just changed them, we've got the 15-inch rim size, so we've bumped them up a little bit. I accidentally did press a button earlier, and there again, and something's changed. I think it's changed the width. Yeah, sorry about that. I accidentally pressed A on the stock rims, and it strips everything down, which is a bit weird, but there we go. And rear aero, the aero front bumper, we've got the Forza front bumper. The rear wing is the Forza rear wing. And did we do anything here? No. It doesn't really do a lot. I think it actually adds weight. Yeah, it does. Adds a couple of pounds, so we didn't put that on. So believe it or not, removing some plasticky bits actually adds weight, which is a bit bizarre. So that's the build for you guys. So let's switch into the tune. So for the tyres on this one, we've got 28.5 for the front and 28.0 in the rear. The gearing, I don't know if this is 100% stock, but the final drive at the minute is 3.80, and because we have just got the street, or the sport, isn't it? The sport transmission, we can then change the final drive. Not a problem, but so you can adjust that for whatever track you're doing. For the front camber, we've got negative 1.8, and the rear toe, the rear camber, we've got negative 2.0. The toe, we've left that stock, which is 0 and 0, and the front caster we've got at 6. Anti-roll bars, we've got 20.29, and the rear we've got 18.26. The springs, we've got 451.8 in the front and 426.0 in the rear, and the ride height is all the way down to the deck, 4.9. Dampening, the front we've got 10.6, the front and the rear we've got 10.2, and the bump stiffness we've got 4.0 and 3.4. Aero we've got 100 and 195. Braking, we've left that at 47% and just 100%. I found there isn't a lot of difference braking pressure wise, because you actually have got a pedal now. And the differential, we've got a 10 and 5%. Now for this car, it is a fairly basic standard tune. There's a few things like the camber, which isn't as much, because you are using a wheel. It is fairly sensitive in a way, so because you're turning it and it is more realistic in the way you're turning, you don't need as much front camber to be able to get that sensitive turn in. And for the rear, again, you don't need as much grip because you control it with your throttle a little bit more. And then overall, I've just found that you can keep your car a little bit stiffer, and you don't need to apply as much oversteer tune to it. So naturally, as you've seen me bang on in all my other rear wheel drive tunes, excuse me, is you need to have it softer in the rear than you do in the front, which still applies to most cars here. However, you don't need it as much because you don't need that oversteer. The first thing you'll find when you race with this wheel is everything's going to be oversteering. You're just going to get the back end out dead easy. If anything too much, if you're drifting, and it just all goes a little bit crazy. So you need to try and tune that out a little bit, which is what I've done here. So if you see this too, and if other tunes, you'll see it's not as extreme, if you like. It's very narrow margins, but it seems to work really well. And then again, the changes overall are massive. What I do find though is anything that's an actual race car. So recently I've been racing the Ferrari GTO, and that needs very, very, very strange setup because it is a race car. And although if I did it on the control, I'd have maximum aero and this, that and the other, I'm finding I'm having to have a very bizarre setup because of how it handles in the game, because in effect it is already set up for the road or for racing to an extent. So that's just a little snippet into what's to come, really. So give this a go, guys. We'll take it for a quick lap in a moment and get the camera on just so you can see me driving with the wheel. And we'll just quickly look over to the left. 0 to 60 in 6.136 seconds. It's at 134 seconds. 0 to 100 in 16.543 seconds, and a top speed of 124.1 miles per hour. I'm just going to quickly back out. I think I accidentally changed something there, but don't worry about that. And what I'm going to do is just make sure that you guys have got exactly the same setup as me. Should be in D400. Should have speed of 4.6, handling of 4.9, acceleration of 7.1, launch of 7.1, and braking of 5.2. You should have horsepower of 186, torque of 190 foot-pounds of torque, and the weight should be 1,989 pounds, and a front displacement of 56%, and the displacement below is 2.6 litres. So what we're going to do, guys, is just take this for a quick lap around the track. I'll get the camera set up and we will we'll get moseying on down the road just so you can see how it drives. So here we are, guys, and we're back on the track. Got the camera going, which is going to be up there, I think, and let's take it for a ride. So sometimes you have to just press A just to get the revs up, and you'll find that it handles fairly well. I think it's pretty decent. I've actually beat a couple of rivals times on this. Obviously I've got quite used to the track, and this is Catalonia National. And I've got used to this car as well because I've been doing an immense amount of tuning and time with it. But as you can see, I'm doing very minimal manoeuvres. That was quite a tight corner, but you're not really moving the wheel a lot to take these corners. Obviously you need to turn it a bit more if the corner's a bit sharper. How I didn't hit the cones then, I don't know. But yeah, it's dead easy, just flick it. Obviously I've got my foot on the accelerator and the brake down there. And that's that, really. Just got to take your time. Obviously these are slow cars, so it's quite nice to get used to driving around the track with. I'm not by any means, I'm not trying to set any fast laps here. I'm just going to do a couple of laps just so you guys can see how it all works. And that, and see for yourself. But so you have to turn it quite a bit for these corners, and it's a little bit hard to chat to you guys and race at the same time. So it puts me off a bit like that. I've got the sound down a little bit so you're not hearing it twice. Let's try and set a nice lap. Don't forget, guys, if you are checking this video out and you're wondering what the hell I'm banging on about with this wheel, at the end of the video you are going to see the links to my setup guide and also the review of the wheel and the Wheel Stand Pro that I've got, which is great. If you're unsure how you're going to connect this up at home, and if you think the wife might say, oh, it's getting in the way, or your parents, really nice stand that just folds away and allows you to keep all the wheels set up. All you have to do is plug it in and just fold it out, put it to where you need it to go, and jobs are good. It's a really nice stand. A few people have commented on my video saying that they think it actually comes with it, but it doesn't. It's just that well made. It is designed for this kind of wheel, but it's not actually something Thrustmaster endorse or sell. It's just a company called Wheel Stand Pro, so check them out. So as you can see, guys, it's fairly minimal movements. I'm not, apart from like slightly tighter corners where you'd expect a bit more turning circle, I'm doing it a quarter of a turn maximum. So here a bit more, but that's probably about the max. I mean, on a hairpin you're going to turn it quite a bit, but you're not really like this, because that's when the car does start to shift out from you. So a minute 24, quite happy with that. I'm just going to, so something else that you can do with the wheel, this is something completely bizarre, but if you're stopped here and you see you've spun out on the track, if you put full lock on, you can turn like that. Now on a controller you're going to struggle, unless you're really good with the controller and you can do minimal movements and get used to it. You're very rarely going to be able to turn on the track like that, as easy as it is. So anyway, enough from me. This is going to be quite a long video because obviously we've done the tune and you're seeing me up in the corner doing a bit of racing with you, just so you can see how it is on the old wheel. And it's quite nice that if I turn, he turns it a little bit. Obviously it gets to a certain point and I've got a bit more than he has, but yeah, it's really good. So let me know what you think of the tune, and if someone wants to put a comment in of a sorry, I'll put that on the way, but of a car you'd like me to tune up next, whether it's another D class or a C class. I am going to go through all the classes, do a tune, and just so you can progressively see what the differences are. Anybody got any questions, please feel free to let me know. And until next time guys, I really appreciate all your likes and your subscribes, and I'll can't get my words out right at the end, what a bummer. It's a bit of a fail there, but I shall see you all on the next video.